Legal therapist and host of Talking Live on Facebook Watch and the Bite Side podcast. Dr. Robi Ludwig is with us on this side. Great to have you both here. I have something I need you to see because I want your take on what we're actually seeing here, okay? Following the verdict in the Texas case, where Alex Jones was ordered to pay $49 million in damages to the Sandy Hook parents, he sat down with Channel 5 YouTuber Andrew Callaghan for an interview. Callaghan released a 2.5-minute trailer on September 3rd, and the videos reached more than 360,000 views. Jones is asked whether he feels responsible for what happened to the families of the Sandy Hook massacre. I want you to hear his response.
Yes, I killed the children.
But beyond that,
I mean, I went in that school, I pulled a gun out, and I shot every one of them myself. I mean, I'm guilty. It's true.
No, but I mean,
no. Let's just. Do I feel responsible that someone that played shoot 'em up video games on a bunch of drugs went and killed a bunch of kids, and then the internet questioned it, and I covered that? No, I don't feel responsible, and I don't apologize anymore. I'm done. I don't apologize. I killed the kids.
Was there a definitive?
No, I killed them. I killed them.
All right, let's bring back in Dr. Carol Lieberman, Dr. Robi Ludwig. Dr. Robi Ludwig, your first reaction to that reaction from Alex Jones. What did you see happening there?
It just sounds like he's so theatrical. He doesn't take any responsibility for his behavior and lying, and he's very attention-seeking. So he's just into being provocative and says things to be provocative and get attention. And I don't think he thinks much beyond that. He just likes saying outrageous things. He likes feeling powerful. And I think what you see is what you get in this clip. And clearly he was making the interviewer very uncomfortable. And I think that there's a sadistic part of Alex that really enjoys making people feel uncomfortable in his presence.
We've reconnected. We've got the technology. Ben Chu, Johnny Depp's attorney, back with us. Ben, let me ask you, Alex Jones, what role do you think he plays in this trial? Does he? I guess he has to take the stand, right? He's got to get up there and talk. What do you expect from him? How much of a difference can he make? And will he hurt himself more than help himself?
Vinny, if past his prologue, he will inflame the jurors against him. What he should do, as one of your guests just pointed out, is to take responsibility, to express genuine sorrow about what happened at Sandy Hook, but perhaps, or maybe this is a function of his counsel, to point out that he wasn't directly responsible for the deaths, but most of all, to try to take responsibility. But based on what he's done in the past, there's no reason to believe that he will do that. As I believe the judge pointed out, his attitude and that of counsel has been, to date, stunningly cavalier about his obligations as a party in the case and the case in general.
Well, let me ask you this, Ben, a follow-up to that. I mean, minus $49 million already. Obviously, there's an appeal, but collecting the money, that's the part we don't spend a lot of time talking about, but that can be an important part of litigation, right? You get the jury award, but you've got to get the money. And if someone like Alex Jones, it seems he's extremely successful, has built an empire despite being banned on social media. What are your thoughts about collecting money from him and his company?
Well, I think there is a possibility that to the extent that he has been moving around assets, or if he moves around assets after the Texas judgment or after this judgment, if there is, in fact, a jury award for the plaintiffs, that those could be examined in terms of whether they're fraudulent conveyances. So, for example, I'm sure plaintiffs' counsel are already looking at the bankruptcy of the entity with which he's associated, and whether that's genuine or whether their assets, beyond free speech system and in other entities associated with Mr. Jones and InfoWars. I'm sure they're working on that.
Yeah. All right, folks, we've got a lot more to cover. We're going to talk about the victims when we come back, because obviously that's what this case ultimately is about. The damage, the torture, the heartbreak. We'll hear their stories next.
Statements and the remarks and the comments made by both InfoWars and Alex Jones repeatedly have tarnished Jesse's legacy.
And you have to think about the position. You know, you're a parent, your young child murdered in this brutal mass shooting. And then someone with a huge following is saying, it didn't happen. It's not real. These are crisis actors. I mean, that's the world that these parents are living in, and that's why they brought this lawsuit against Alex Jones and InfoWars. I want to play for you some of the testimony. This is from the first trial in Texas, but I'm sure the testimony in this next trial will be along the same lines. And remember, the plaintiffs in this case were awarded $49 million. Here are the parents of one of the victims, Jesse Lewis.
I wanted to tell you to your face because I wanted you to know that I am a mother first and foremost, and I know that you're a father, and my son existed. You're still on your show today trying to say that I'm implying that I'm an actress, that I'm deep state. You have this week, and I don't understand. Truth is so vital to our world. Truth is what we base our reality on. And we have to agree on that to have a civil society. Sandy Hook is a hard truth. Nobody would want to ever believe that 26 kids could be murdered. Nobody would ever want to believe that. I understand people not wanting to believe that, actually. I don't want to believe it.
When it's stated that Jesse's was fake, that is an indication that he didn't exist and he didn't live. He didn't live. I was blessed with him for 6.5 years. He's been gone 1.5 times. But I cherish those days, those years with Jesse.
Brutal, absolutely brutal, and you could see and feel the pain that this dad went through in losing his son, but then the constant reverberation of it wasn't real, and then being harassed by others who apparently were listening or watching or following Alex Jones. Still with us tonight, Ben Chu. You remember him from the Johnny Depp case, Dr. Carol Lieberman, Dr. Robi Ludwig, and joining us now in Los Angeles, California, defamation attorney Doug Merrill is with us. Robi, Dr. Robi, let me start with you on the pain for these parents. And is there kind of like this, does it come together, the loss of your son and then the piling on? Like, where does the pain from the loss of your child end, and where does the pain begin associated with someone saying it didn't happen?
Well, basically what Alex Jones did was he re-injured these vulnerable parents, and he galvanized a crowd to re-abuse these victims. And I bet Alex Jones has no sense about this, no empathy, no idea. So it's very healthy for especially these two well-spoken parents to come out in court and state their rights and to remind everybody about the importance of truth and reality versus non-reality. So this is very cathartic for them. I think it's cathartic for our society to know that people that spin these conspiracy lies and aim to just have power and earn money, that there's no place for that, that there is a law that prevents these kinds of people from spreading lies. So I think that the court process in this case is very healing for these people, and hopefully Alex Jones will be sentenced in a way that can give them some emotional reprieve.
Dr. Robi Ludwig, what do you think the response will be to the fans and followers of Alex Jones, to everything that's happening here and everything that happened in Texas?
Well, my concern is that Alex Jones followers are following Alex Jones almost like he's a cult leader. So they have a need to believe in him, to follow him, and to feel probably that he's being victimized. Hopefully some will see a reality here and say Alex Jones took it too far. But I think Alex Jones followers really want to believe him because they're resonating with this idea that government is bad and has evil intentions, and that there's evil in the world, and conspiracy theories are where it's at, and probably people who are a little bit paranoid, like Alex Jones, kind of this idea that the real story is the exciting story that's being woven and shared. So listen, it would be nice if some of his followers would say no more, but I think probably Alex Jones followers are a lot more like Alex Jones than we'd like to think.
We are out of time this hour, but a big thank you. Ben Chu, great to see you. Dr. Carol Learman, always a pleasure. Dr. Robi Ludwig and Doug Merrill, appreciate your insight and expertise. Hope to see you all again